How important is it for the natural bodybuilder to focus on progressing lifts in some way in order to maximize their ability to put on muscle versus I'm just going to go in and chase a sensation, a pump. I want to feel muscles working. Coming from your background, all right, let's get your input on this.
Progression above all. And if you're not progressing on your lifts, you're never going to make any muscle gains. And I'll tell you why. Progressive overload is only evidence that hypertrophy happened. It's not the driver of hypertrophy. And that's what guys get confused with. Meaning, if your numbers are not increasing because either the stimulus wasn't as potent, maybe you didn't recover from it, or you're not gaining muscle. It's that simple. Once neural adaptations have ceased on a given exercise, all progression from that point forward is going to be driven by either an increase in leverages, gaining body fat, or hypertrophy. It's got to be that. For me, I've been benching since day one when I started lifting. The only way it's going to go up, it's not going to be through technique work. It has to be hypertrophy in the chest, shoulders, or triceps. There's got to be some degree that went up, which allows me to gain that extra rep. That's the only thing. So provided that we're running just a standard program and whatnot, not some high specificity powerlifting routine or whatever. Like if you're training like a natural bodybuilder should, with good proximity to failure, good exercise selection, good, total workload, doing everything right, quote unquote, and your numbers are not going up, you're not gonna make any gains at all. You won't improve. And the years where I have the most PRs, quote unquote, are always my most productive years for hypertrophy. That's what happened last year. That's what happens every time. And just to say, when I was cutting during my contest prep, it was like 6-7 months. You could say it was a total of 7, but I took a 1-month diet break. So let's just say 6, right? I didn't make any muscle gains. Not one lift went up unless it was something that I was brand new at. So there were neural adaptations, but all the major exercises either maintain or at the end went down in performance. Not one measurement went up. Obviously it's because of a calorie deficit and whatnot, but I'm just saying if the opposite of what happened, it would have been gains galore. So, and that's the difference we see also in natural versus enhanced bodybuilders. They can grow into a show. And oftentimes they can do so without even the numbers going up, which is crazy to me. I can't even fathom that. There's all kinds of things I can say here, but you need to get stronger. I'm not going to say get stronger to get bigger. I'm going to say get bigger to get stronger, because that's the real flip in one's mindset. Dude, if you're currently the same 40-pound dumbbells in year 3 versus year 10, your biceps are going to look the same. And someone who tells me, well, you're wrong, Alex, because I'm lifting the same loads and I'm bigger now. Okay, but how's the execution of that exercise? I guarantee that it's better. I can promise you, I will bet everything I have that your tempo is better, your elbow path, the way you supinate, all that stuff. So I'm not saying that you necessarily need to think of it in terms of a numbers scenario, but execution still must be improved. Basically, instead of using the word strength, let's just say performance on some measurable scale. And if you record yourself, then you'll see that there was a difference, because even with me, certain isolation movements on paper might look similar, but what about the intensity of effort that goes into it, and just the way you do it? And you'd be surprised how garbage a lot of these guys are doing their exercises. The form is so piss poor that just by improving it over time, that is progressive overload.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's valuable. I was going to try to see if that was something get pulled out of you with another question, but you brought it up on, exactly. So that's awesome, man, because it's not just adding weight on the bar more and more and more, because people start doing that and then they get injured because they think I got to do more. I got to get stronger. But if that adaptation never occurred for you to be able to handle that heavier loads, you got to be patient with this too, right? There has to be a system in place that makes sense in order for you to put that weight on the bar, and you have to be ready too. And it's not linear either, unless maybe you're just first 2-3 years lifting, right?
Like for example, let's say I'm benching 3 plates for reps with a powerlifter technique, very fast reps, but I'm still pausing, right? I can do that, or I can switch over to a cambered bar bench, use a slow tempo with a pause in the bottom for like a 3-second hold, and I'll be down to low 200s. The effect will be the same on the muscles in terms of the stimulation, but one required far less weight. So I always talk about getting more out of less weight. Assuming that the stability profiles are rather similar, you're changing your leverages, it's extended range of motion, and then the movement is done with such flawless execution that you don't need to load all these darn plates. Even with a barbell back squat, I mean, I've done 5 plates before for 1 rep max, and that equates to like 4 reps for reps. I can drop 100 pounds off that movement, lower myself slowly, pause in the bottom where the quad is being stretched the most, have heel elevation, upright torso, and 3 plates is going to be a workout. I think that's what we see in some of these natural bodybuilders who say that you don't need to get stronger. It's because they are getting stronger in their own way, and they're still darn strong. One of the guys that I saw you interview, he's actually strong. His form is so perfect that he'll do like 185 on the bench. He's progressing. If you look at his execution, it's not like what you see at the gym, So I'm not surprised that his pecs are massive off benching that amount, but he can do 3 plates if he really felt like it. If you do 3 sets with 3 minutes of rest between sets, that'll give you the same effect as 6 sets of 10 with 1 minute rest. yes. The 6 sets of 10, you'll use less weight. That can also be a deceiving factor because of the fatigue that goes into it.
You brought that was a great thing you brought up, because if you did drop the load and you did it in this like super perfect kind of way in your mind that you think is that this is the way it has to be done because you just feel things better, but then the loads start progressing from that version of it, then you're progressing. Like,
it doesn't
it's just
matter
from that version, right?
Exactly man. Yeah,
right.
And what people don't get is it's about the proximity to failure. And now we have studies demonstrating you can get muscle with weights between 5 and 30 reps. So 30% of your 1 rep max can give you the same hypertrophy as 70% of your 1 rep max. But if you're still progressing on that 30%, then it's still freaking progression. And this is what guys don't comprehend. When they hear me say you got to get stronger, what goes in their head is, oh, you're telling me to be a powerlifter. No, I'm not a powerlifter. That's not what I'm saying. You know, you got to read between the lines here. And it's all about motor unit recruitment. It's those last 5 effective reps that matter. So if you're doing it slowly, at the end, eventually, whether you like it or not, there's going to be involuntary slowing of contraction of speed. You're going to be grinding for real, and it's not going to be intentional. It's going to be automatic. To get to that point, it was intentional. But at the end, it's not.
You're exploring the 2 sets to failure now. That's something that you're really diving in on. Yeah. So how's your experience been recovery wise? And also, why did you switch from, you were the full body guy. I need to go back to this for a second.
Yeah.
Because you preach this, you sold this full body thing, right? And now you've stepped away from it, but you're not saying, oh, now everybody should step away from it. That was part of your journey for a very specific reason. So talk about it.